Hey there friends, welcome to another mini Makerspace. Today we're doing a special craft in honor of Remembrance Day coming up. We're going to be making our own coffee filter dyed poppy buttons. So for materials you're going to need a few things. I have some food coloring here, a little container of water. If you have really little kids, I also recommend putting the water in an ice cube tray. It means you have little smaller pods that they can work with and experiment a little bit more. I also have some watercolor paints, coffee filters. I'm using an old button for mine, but you can also use a safety pin. And then you'll need either a little circle of black paper or a black button to go in the center of your poppy. To start, you're going to take your coffee filters and poppies. If you want, you can Google pictures of poppies to show your kids how the texture of the petals look. They're not smooth like a regular flower. They're kind of crinkly and wrinkly. So to get that texture for our coffee filter, we're going to crunch them up and then unfold them a bit. You can talk with your kids about what technique you think will be best for crunching, maybe rolling it. Try a few different styles. And then this is great if you have a kiddo who's in around 5 or 6 range in about grade 1 where they're talking about color mixing. You can talk about how red is a primary color. We're going to put some of this food coloring into our water. You can talk about more drops is going to make it a darker shade, less drops is going to be lighter. I'm also going to add just a little hint of blue. You can ask your kids, blue and red together make what color? Talk about how those colors are different. Look at pictures of the poppies and see how they're not just, there's depth to color and you'll have different colors in there. Just swirl that around with the paintbrush a little bit. You'll notice that I have paper towel down. A vinyl or a plastic tablecloth is also recommended. Our tables have seen some cracks in their day, so I'm not too worried about them. I'm going to open up my watercolors as well. And you can talk to your kids about what they think will happen. You can use droppers to see how best to spread out that water. Is there a way to make the colors darker, lighter? Can you mix them together? All of those great things. If you have a kiddo who is in about grade 2, they're learning about the properties of water. So you can talk about how the coffee filter is absorbing the water, and when it's drying, well, why isn't it wet anymore? Did it evaporate? What happened? How long do they think it'll take to dry? What happens if we add too much water? There's lots of cool guiding questions that you can ask. So there's lots of different things that you can do with these depending on the age of the children you're working with. You could be talking about color mixing, what colors blend together, how do they blend together. You could be talking about the properties of water and absorption, like which one is sinking in more, which one's absorbing more. what's going to happen when they dry. Does the water evaporate? Lots of different learning that you could do to extend it. You can even try with different brushes. What kind of brushes could you use? Sponges, different materials to get that color on there. So there's lots of opportunities to extend this project into that learning space. Once you have them all covered with color, just set them off to dry. This could take a little bit of time. You can pat them dry, but leave them somewhere to just dry so we can get on to our next step. Once those are dry, you can layer them up. And then this is very big, so I'm going to scrunch them together also to give it a bit more of that poppy texture. I'm just going to gather them in the center and just kind of spin it, scrunch it. Just to give it more of that flower shape. And then, once you have it shaped kind of the way you want, you're going to take your paper or your button, whatever you happen to have. I'm using a hot glue gun on mine. You could use white glue, whatever you have handy at home, but just right in the center there. And you will have your poppy. Now, if you're making these just for decoration, you can leave it there. But what I like to do with these, especially if you have younger kids, is I like to take an old button or a safety pin, but I find a button, if I'm using a whole button, I burn my fingers less. Put some glue on that. And then I'm going to stick that just to the back of my poppy, because now I have this beautiful poppy that I can wear over my heart. That's going to be a little less pokey and just a little bit more creative for those little kids to get them a little bit more engaged. So thank you for coming to our mini makerspace. I'll have some recommended reads that you can have to read to your kids about Remembrance Day or the themes behind Remembrance Day. But thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.